Hello and welcome to what is a slightly different stream tonight. In that we'll be discussing obviously the big announcement of the week, and that is, of course, Train Sim World 4. So please feel free to put your comments, thoughts on what you kind of thought of the announcement into the chat, because I'd love to hear. I want this to be sort of a two-way interaction. I thought we'd use a couple of the articles just to give us a bit of a handrail in terms of discussing the routes, some of the features, giving you my thoughts. Like I said, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are as well. So I can see we've already got Crazy Plays in the chat. How you doing? I hope you're all very well. Don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe if you're new here. So I think without further ado, let's start to make our way through this article. So you can see it's very much open for pre-order now. I'm not going to play any of the videos tonight because I'm sure you will have all seen it. So obviously as part of the release, we found out what the three core routes will be, and of course I think two of them, and probably the third one, didn't come as a surprise at all, and that was partly down to obviously the leaks that we found out in sort of the days running up to the announcement at Dovetail Direct, and of course the article that we saw on that website was absolutely right. It predicted exactly when the announcement would be, and of course when the release date will be. Crazy, you're saying you actually think you'll enjoy all three core routes. Yeah, I think they're all very different to one another, which is good in that sense, because you haven't got two kind of high speed routes or two commuter routes, so there's definitely some variety, and I quite like that. And of course we'll start with, as you can see, we've got the Vorarlberg Lindau to Blundes, which is the first route that we found out about, which is an Austrian route but actually borders with Germany, so you will be going across the border between the two countries in the Talent 1, which you can see on screen now, operated by OBB. So that's a new operator, a new country, and I think the scenery for this is certainly phenomenal. So I think this is a positive. I've never driven an Austrian route. I can't say I know much about trains in Austria, so I think this is a good introduction to the country in that sense. So let's just roll through some of the kind of key points here. Obviously, we get the Talent 1 with it in its OBB livery, and you can start to see some of the beautiful scenery that we get. Obviously, this is between the border and between Austria and Germany, where it's set in quite a mountainous part of the country. So you'll get some absolutely stunning sceneries. There you go, that's probably a better picture to show. You can see the mountains in the backdrop there with the snow caps, and that I think they genuinely have done very well there. We'll come on to discussing whether Train Sim World 4 was needed a little bit later down the line, when we look at some of the key key features that came with it. But I really wanted to focus on the routes first, because that's the heart of what Train Sim World is. And yeah, as you can see, we've got some stunning scenery. If we just jump into this article, we get a little bit more information about Vorarlberg. So is that kind of fact sheet that they popped up on screen on the announcement. So you can see it's 44 miles in length. We get 28 stations. Obviously, the first OBB train got the mountainous backdrop, a variety of service patterns. We also know that the Vectron will layer in along with you get services with the Vectron. It'll also layer the 628 in a red DB livery, and also the Swiss train from Lisa and Cersei. I can't remember which one that is. And I completely agree, Crazy. The mountains look so much better than anything that's certainly come before. So I'm quite pleased with this route, and I think it's going to be enjoyable to drive, and obviously, yeah, it's going to be something a little bit different. So let's just jump back to the next route that was announced, and that was the Antelope Valley line, Los Angeles to Lancaster. Again, that was one that we found out prior to the formal announcement of Train Sim World 4, but it comes with the F125 and the Rotem cars, which you can see in front. So the way they kind of describe this route is a kind of a hybrid between I guess Peninsula Corridor and Cajon Pass, in that you'll have both passenger and freight on this route. So I think that would be quite a nice mix, because previously with the US routes we've only tended to get one or the other. Yeah, absolutely crazy. That's a great point. The DB BR 185.2 and its DB livery will also come with Vorarlberg. So yeah, great. Thank you for that. That's good. It's important to point out. So there will be a mixture of freight on Vorarlberg, which is cool. So yeah, as I was saying about the Antelope Valley, we will get a mixture of passenger freight, albeit I think the number of passenger services will be low, but that's just a reality of the route that it's on. Absolutely agree, Crazy. I have a feeling the Baby Bullet will also come to Antelope after what was said in Dovetail's roadmap, in that I think that they've obviously got it in their mind to release in the future, which I think will be very cool. You know, I very much expect Dovetail to do what they've done with the previous 3 core routes, in that there were various various kind of loco packs that they added throughout the year. So I'm quite excited to see what could come. You also thought the Railpool livery for the 185. Oh, interesting. You might be right. In my mind, I thought it was the DB livery one, but yeah, you could be right. It would make sense given the Vectron is also Railpool. So let's roll down and get some more glorious shots of the Antelope Valley. And you can see the Rotem cars there. It's very much set, obviously being towards Los Angeles. As you obviously head out of Los Angeles towards Lancaster, it does feel very deserty. And so you'll definitely feel the difference in sort of landscapes as you go out from a bustling city to what is the desert in the valleys. And so I think that'll be very cool to very cool to experience. And there you go, you can see the Rotem cars, and that's the cab car that you'll be driving. Yeah, absolutely crazy. Some routes are kind of okay to be quiet, as long as people know that that's the type of route that they'll be driving. Not everything can be I guess Brighton Mainline, for example. You think it's the second busiest Metrolink in passengers and possibly trains. Yeah, it'll be very cool to drive. I think it would be a very different experience to anything that we've driven US based previously. And what we'll do is we'll head back to the roadmap article, because it did have, again, the little cheat sheet that is always good to look at. Where is it? There we go. There's the Antelope Valley line. So again, another new operator in Metrolink. It's 76.5 miles long, so it's a pretty lengthy route. So I think it's going to be a fairly long service going from one end to the other. You got 13 stations included, as I said, the F125 locomotive and the Rotem cars. And as you can see there, transfers the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles City and the canyons of northern LA County. Features Vista Canyon Station, which is set to open immediately. Combination of passengers, stops, and challenging gradients. Peninsula Corridor meets Cajon Pass. It'll be interesting to, because the one thing that they've failed to mention yet is the freight layers that will come with this route. They've kind of kept very quiet about it so far. So yeah, interested to find out what they'll be. I believe they should be Union Pacific hauled freight trains, and obviously we've got a good mix already within Train Sim World 3. So yeah, should be good. Crazy, you say it's just hope it's not crawling at 30 miles an hour, 2 hours for a full run. Yeah, I can bet it will be pretty lengthy. Imagine roughly for 50 miles an hour speed sections mostly. Yeah, it would make sense. And then Kevin, evening, how you doing? Looks like a really good read. It does, yeah. I like it. It's not something we've had in the US before, so it should be good. And then we move on to, I guess, for me, is probably my personal favourite, and that is, of course, the East Coast Main Line. Again, we didn't have any leaks prior to the announcement of this, but it was heavily speculated as what we'd be getting. But I think the bit that perhaps threw people off was the section of the East Coast Main Line that was announced. I think a lot of people thought perhaps, say, King's Cross to Peterborough or some other sections, but obviously we've got from Peterborough to Doncaster. Crazy, just going back to the Antelope line, yeah, it was meant to be Union Pacific, but we saw BNSF in the announcement. Yeah, you're absolutely right, we did. That's a very good point. Yeah, hopefully they clarify that ahead of the preview. Cool. Okay, going back to the East Coast Main Line. So yeah, Peterborough to Doncaster, and of course we finally get a class 800 or an 801. This was one that I was personally really looking forward to, because I do like the 800 family. So yeah, it's nice to have this finally here. We've got the 801 both in its 5 and 9 car formations, and let's just scroll down and get a bit more of the beautiful scenery that is the East Coast Main Line. And again, what we'll do is we'll just jump over to the cheat sheet here. Let's find it. Sorry for the quick flicking through. Once we get there, we'll just look at the chat. So New York Texas Railroad, welcome into the stream, hope you're well. Operating speed is 79. Okay, so it's a bit faster than perhaps we were anticipating for Antelope Valley. Crazy, you say you prefer this over the southern section of the East Coast Main Line after you looked at it a bit more. Interesting. I think it'll be interesting with different stopping patterns, Flying Scotsman, and trying to get that to 100 miles an hour. Yeah, absolutely agree. I think, I guess when I first heard it, my concern would be just running from, say, Peterborough to Doncaster in the same stopping pattern could get quite repetitive quite quickly. But the fact that there could be certain services that perhaps miss out certain stations because it's an express service, or if it's a different service that perhaps skips Peterborough and you pick it up at Grantham. There's all sorts of different things, and absolutely agree. The Flying Scotsman will add a different dynamic. It's nice to see the 700 in as an AI layer only at Peterborough, so it'll make you feel a little bit busy. And of course, the East Midlands train class 158 will also be layered in from Midland Main Line. So we also did see the 66 briefly, so I'd imagine we'll have some freight and possibly the railhead treatment train, I would imagine. That's the things we tend to get as a staple for UK routes now. But yeah, absolutely really pleased to see the 800 and of course a section of the East Coast Main Line. I think a lot of that I saw in the sort of Dovetail Direct event, I saw a lot of people wanting the class 91 for this route, so it's certainly possible, I guess, in the future that it may come as an add-on. I think there's obviously a lot of demand from it from the number of people that were putting that in the chat. So fingers crossed, because I think that would again add some, a new dynamic to this route as well. So if we just go through some of the key facts for this route here. So it's the longest high-speed main line. The longest, that's for UK. It's going to roughly 80 miles, so that is a good length. That is, really, really good length. Features the only flat crossing left in the UK. We'll probably see a picture of that in a moment. It's got a wide variety in the timetable, lots of stopping patterns, and as I say, additional layers of the 700 and 158. It's just 5 train stations, but I think that kind of fits the nature of the East Coast Main Line. And then, of course, the iconic high-speed LNER Azuma being the 801 that we'll be getting in both the 9 and 5 car formation. So I'm quite pleased with this, actually, and I'm excited to give it a go. I think is there a nice picture of the flat crossing here? There you go, the flat crossing at Newark. So those were the 3 core routes that we'll be getting with Train Sim World 4, but we also had the announcement of 2 loco add-ons, and the first one being the LNER Class A3 that we'll call best known as the Flying Scotsman. So yeah, I'm genuinely pleased about this. Let's just check in with the chat. So Crazy, you had a good look. You had a look at the video where they were showing TSW4 on the Gamescom in Germany, and had a quick look at the services in timetable mode. For Antelope, there'll be 79 services, for Rarburg 319, and East Coast Mainline 218 services. You are a great detective. That's some great bit of information that they've not yet formally announced. So yeah, good work for spotting that. That's and that kind of fits. The number of services fits the type of routes that we will be getting with. So I'm more than happy with that, and you have to assume that's with the additional layers included. So yeah, that's not bad at all. Evening, Lewis, how you doing? So moving back to the Flying Scotsman, of course it fits the release of Train Sim World so perfectly in that it's 100th birthday this year, it's centenary edition, and its perfect kind of home is the East Coast Main Line. So the two just went hand in hand perfectly. I'm pleased this is here. So again, Steam is. I think everyone would like to see more Steam. The only criticism I suppose is I've still got is the physics of Steam and the what will probably be the constant safety valves going off. So hopefully, like they've done with the other Steam locos that we've got so far, is they turn the sound right down on those, because we don't want to be constantly hearing the safety valves as we're driving along. But yeah, they should really look to address that. And I was hoping when I heard the announcement of the Scotsman that would have also been addressed, but not to be. So let's have a look at some of this. Look at that, beautiful. And it'll have a rake of Mark II coaches behind it in maroon. So, and there you can see the Azuma passing the Flying Scotsman there. I think that's an absolute glorious shot. That's beautiful. Let's we'll just flick over to the old cheat sheet just to get some of the key points. If we keep going, there it is. So there you go, Flying Scotsman, obviously the world's most famous steam locomotive, originally built in 1923 in Doncaster. So again, perfectly fits the East Coast Main Line being Peterborough to Doncaster. First steam locomotive to officially reach 100 miles an hour. So again, the East Coast Main Line is perfect to try and replicate that. Crazy, you say those were the services without layers, except East Coast Main. Oh, that's really good to know. So yeah, I suspect there may be some more to come for that as well. So that's pretty cool. So part of the centenary celebrations with the National Railway Museum, take it on the world tour using Scenario Planner, absolutely, and has its own support coach and a rake of Mark II coaches in maroon livery. So yeah, pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. And as I say, it just adds some diversity to the East Coast Main Line, and you can imagine just thundering, whizzing past that while you're driving in Azuma will be pretty cool. And then we got what is probably the worst kept secret, and it's been on the roadmap for far too long now, in my opinion. It's of course the Vectron that everyone knew it would be, and in its rail pool livery. And I have to say, I'm really excited for this one. And we all knew that the home route for this would be Dresden to Riesa, so that will also have some updates to it, but we'll probably roll on to that in a moment. But as you can see here, you've got the you can see it on, I think this is Dresden that the pictures have been taken on, hauling some freight. So Dresden, and actually, there we go. Let's just jump to that to the cheat sheet, and then we'll go on to the Dresden to Riesa. Right, let's jump all the way down. Sorry for the flicking again. Where are we? There we go. So multi-system variant. So that's what that means is it can run on both German routes and also Austrian. Its home route will be Dresden to Riesa, but we'll come on to some of the upgrades and updates that will be coming. Modern European freight locomotive, of course, in its rail pool livery. And it's, I like that a lot. So let's just jump back to where we were. There we go. And the next thing up, so let's just check where we are with the chat. Crazy. Antelope services are split into two parts, but I think that's fair enough. Otherwise, it'll be 2 hours, and save game apparently is not the best. Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. I think for something like that, it absolutely makes sense. I guess where they are 2 parts, I'd hope there would be an easier way of moving between the 2 parts rather than it having to finish, find out what your medal is, then jump back into another run. But hey, it can't be too picky. A full S1 run in Vorarlberg is 90 minutes. That's not too bad actually. And the East Coast Main Line varies between 30 and 55 minutes. See, that's absolutely perfect for East Coast Main Line, and especially doing sort of high-speed services. I think that's pretty spot on. And since you don't have to change cab, it's not too bad. Yeah, absolutely, it's definitely not as bad as the Glossop line. I won't get on my soapbox about that. Otherwise, I'll be ranting all day. So yeah, really good to know. Thanks, Crazy. And then we move on to the Nafaka Dresden Riesa upgrades. So when the rail pool, the Vectron was due to be added, it would also mean that the features within Dresden to Riesa would also need to be taken up from their original Train Sim World 2 features up to Train Sim World 3 and 4 feature sets. So predominantly the lighting and also the weather. I guess one of my big hopes with this is that the night lighting in Dresden isn't affected from the lighting changes, because that's how does kind of the pinnacle of night lighting. So I really hope that doesn't affect it in a bad way. But it would be cool to see those features come to Dresden and Riesa, because it is a brilliant route, and I know it's certainly a favourite of a lot of people's. So it's going to add even more chaos to this route. So I'm looking forward to this. So that kind of sums up the Dovetail Games releases. The other one I wanted to touch on that we also found about was the Just Trains route that has again been on the roadmap for quite some time now. So let's just roll down to that. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And we all know it's Blackpool to Preston and Ormskirk. I think that wasn't really too much of a shock, if I'm honest. Let's just find it. There we go. Blackpool, Preston, Ormskirk. So let's just roll through some of the pictures. We know it'll be coming with the Class 142, or better known as the Pacer. Look at that. It's very much an iconic British DMU that's based on a bus chassis. So it's certainly going to be bouncy. And there we go. We can show the route map there. So it's going to be pretty busy. And it's going to offer a lot of different services. I think there's as you can see here, you've got the 47. I'm pretty sure I've seen the 40 or 31 there. I think that's a 40. I think there's also a 45 layers in as well. So it's going to be a real mix, and I hope this is going to be nice and busy. And yeah, this is one I'm definitely looking forward to. You got there you go. You got Class 8 there. You got the 101. So I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be very fun, and I can't wait for this to come. I guess just in the future, I hope the Pacer is able to layer on to other routes, because that would be very, very cool. New York Texas Railroad, you're excited for the New York Trenton timetable update? Yeah, absolutely. That will be pretty special as well. Crazy. Just Trains route is going to be good, I'd imagine, and since it has both north and south, there'll be a bit more variety. Yeah, absolutely. I think most people were expecting one or the other. Trains and World Guy, more excited for the editor? Yeah, absolutely. I think that shocked a lot of people, but we will come on to that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. You're right. Yeah, Crazy. The layers are stated on the Just Trains page, but it pretty much uses all of the that kind of BR Blue era layers from the likes of Tees Valley, Northern Trans-Pennine, those types of routes. And on the road map. Oh, I'm on the road map. Does it say it here anywhere? Does it say it? Does it say it? Yeah, probably. I'm just missing it, probably. Trains from World Guy, I've got a couple of routes that you would like to extend. Which routes would you like to extend? The additional layers for the 20, 31, the 40, 45, maybe the 101, don't actually know, and the 8F. That's a good amount of layers to come in still. That will really make the routes something. I think it will really give it a lot of variety, and it'll be fun seeing all those different types of locos and trains as you go around. So this is one I'm really looking forward to, and obviously being the first Just Trains route, we'll get to hopefully see the great work that they do, and we know from Train Simulator Classic. So this is one. It's going to be a good one. Right, let's jump back to the announcement article. I've been talking for half an hour, so let me just get a quick drink a second. So now we will move on to some of the new features that are part of the core of Train Sim World 4. So I think, again, this one was probably not a huge surprise to me, in that we've got Scenario Planner 2.0. So I guess some of the headlines in terms of what Scenario Planner, excuse me. Scenario Planner 2.0 brings, and that is reworked easier UI. Well, yeah, fine. Custom start times. So what does that really mean? It means that you can get AI trains to start perhaps earlier than your player or the service that you will drive as. So meaning not everything's starting from the same point at the same time. So I think that's a positive. I think that will mean that you perhaps will allow you to meet some trains, I guess, at different times along the route. And that's that's a positive. We then get chaining paths, which this was a really interesting one. So I think previously you could just go from A to B, but now you will, say for example, be able to only in Trains and World Forward routes go from A to B to C to D and back to A potentially. So I think that's nice that you can get a single train doing, I guess, multiple services. It'll also have portal support for AI trains, so meaning that you don't have to keep the services within the confines of the route. They can go off world or off route, which is pretty cool. There'll be weather selection. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, and also you'll be able to add some introductory text to a scenario, meaning that I guess you can give a bit of context as what to expect on this scenario. So not a bad thing. I think they're all pretty sensible additions. What have we got in the chat here? So Crazy saying Scenario Town 2.0 is all right, but a few things missing for you. Just so love to know what things perhaps they could have been added. I don't use Scenario Planner. Just doesn't do it for me. I haven't got the patience to sit there and try and create a scenario, but absolutely fair play to those that do, and I definitely do take advantage of those. So appreciate people who do take the time to, but just not for me. Crazy main things are missing. That's a really good point actually, is more than 30 trains in the scenario. Yeah, that's a really good point. That was one that I was surprised actually was missing. I know they increased the number of layers for Livery Planner, which we'll come to, but I would have also expected Scenario Planner to increase as well. So that's Scenario Planner 2.0, and then as we were just talking about, Livery Designer 2.0. The 2.0 will definitely become a running theme and a bit of a joke, I think. So you get a bit of a livery description, again, kind of makes sense. You get the ability to undo and redo. I think, again, these feel like all very sensible changes. I like the fact that toggle livery usage for AA trains. You won't suddenly see another train with the same livery running around, which I think is, again, sensible. Text entry rather than having to place each letter. Again, all of this stuff kind of makes sense. Font selection. It jumps from 300 layers to 1,000, so you can certainly make more complex liveries if you want. And there you go, you've got some additional operators and fonts, I guess, through the addition of ABB, LNER and Metrolink. So again, these feel like pretty sensible changes. Again, personally, I don't tend to use Livery Designer, so I can't really say if any of these are a huge game changer. I know certainly from what I've seen in the forums and in the chat, the undo redo was long overdue. So I think that's pretty sensible. So then we move on to a new feature. This is something we've not seen before, and that is photo mode. And photo mode is one that actually I really like, actually. And that's just really for me personally, in that when I upload stuff to YouTube, I need to take a thumbnail. So now if we can get certainly better shots rather than trying to screenshot as things are flying past, I'm all for it. And I think from what I've seen in terms of some of the shots that have been taken, you can adjust the kind of settings of it, so you can change the depth of view, the field of view, the blur. So I think it will really enhance some of the screenshots that are able to be taken, and it says it can put filters and enhancements on it. So I'm really excited for this one, and that's just purely because I need to create thumbnails. So hopefully I can get to grips with it relatively quickly. Crazy, you say you've never used Livery Designer since it takes probably like hours to design a basic livery. Yeah, absolutely. Photo Mode would be great as well for people to upload onto Creators Club. Yeah, 100%. And of course, those that like to take part in the weekly screenshot competition that Dovetail run, I think it will take those shots to another level, and so we'll get some even prettier loading screens. So again, another positive. Yeah, absolutely. It might be hard to do when you're driving 100 miles an hour to get the shot at the exact location. And yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's where the beauty of pausing the game and then giving you a free camera to find the right spot to take the shot comes into play. I'm not going to focus too much on the Creators Club improvements because they feel like absolutely things that probably should have been there from day one. So you can now filter based on content that you actually own. So instead of trying to trawl through lots of different, say, scenarios or liveries, probably more scenarios is applicable to make sure you've got the appropriate add-ons. It just filters them, and you can improve search functionality for stuff that you're looking for. All great stuff. Not against any of that. Then we move on to, I guess, scoring 2.0, because, well, why not? Let's call everything 2.0. So I think this is one that has been long overdue an update from my perspective, because certainly found in Circuit Train Sim World 2 and 3, the number of services that you are never able to actually achieve a gold medal is quite staggering at times. So I'm glad that they've actually addressed that now. And then we have also the introduction of a new tier, which is Platinum. And yeah, I quite like this. So it'll only reward those players that literally are driving pretty much perfectly. And it's also fair to say the scoring will now take into more things that should contribute to the score. So things like running with the headlights on, not running with wipers on when they shouldn't have, potentially braking too heavily, etc., or crashing into wagons when you're coupling to them. So I quite like this. It's just a nice neat improvement to something that was previously broken. Train Sim World guy, you say really no points in the new scoring system. You know what, I don't mind it. There are lots of people out in the community that love trying to get all the gold medals they can. So now that the system actually works properly, I think that's probably what anyone really was after. We then move on to ease of access improvements. Now this really just feels like a load of sort of miscellaneous little improvements across the game that jump across a load of different sort of areas. First one being the locomotive difficulty tiering. So that's basically a little bit like you get now with scenarios. The locos also have a difficulty rating. So driving a EMU or I guess a 323, for example, is a lot easier than, say, driving an American freight loco. So I quite like that. It will help those players that are new to the game. Also improved player assists to get you out of sticky situations. Again, that's quite nice. Yeah, some of these are just really simple improvements, but probably will make a big difference. We've now got a simpler and a mini HUD as well, so we'll probably see a screenshot or two of those in a moment. We'll then have automatic coupling and yard rotating. Again, these feel This feels quite sensible. Sometimes I can't be bothered to jump out and couple up or set the points to correct to the correct route. The Class 323 and 8F are being added to Training Center. Again, that makes sense. And then we'll improve the key mapping for accessibility. So all of these things feel very sensible is what I would say. Let's just catch up with chat. So Crazy says, don't think you'll be using Creators Club much anymore, especially when some people start making good scenarios in the editor. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I think that's kind of, I guess, the only thing with having the two now, which people will prefer to use. Train Some World Guy, I wonder if you can copy and paste maps into a new route I make. Possibly, don't know. Don't really know too much about the editor. Crazy, heard the Red Map stream that they've been working on this for the past 8 months, so I guess that explains some of the bad releases. Yeah, 100%. It feels like it was around sort of the March, April time that we had the flurry of a lot of releases, which felt like they were, now in hindsight, they chucked a load of content out there to then be able to focus on trying to get Train Sim World 4 right. So yeah. Toby Strains, hello, how you doing? Is there an A4 coming to the East Coast mainline? I'm afraid there's not that we know of. Sadly nothing been announced, but yeah, having an A4 as well would be very cool. Pessy, I think I might fully just play scenarios from Creators Club and the editors. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully you'll be able to. I think the next part they need to solve is actually how you share the scenarios made in the editor. That will be interesting. Let's move on. So we've now got graphical weather and lighting improvements. So we've got volumetric fog. So that will be applicable to all routes that have got Train Sim World 3 lighting and Train Sim World 4, if that makes sense. And I like this. Some of the fog looks a lot more realistic. So I get that some people think this is just probably an easy switch in Unreal Engine, and it probably is, but it's a good improvement. I'm not against it. The improved rain effects on the windscreen, absolutely. I'm all for that. That was one that should have happened probably a long time ago, because it did look very Minecrafty. You'll also get controller haptics, so you'll get the rumbles and the vibrations on controller now. And for PlayStation controllers, you'll also get the light bar illuminate to the next signal, so whether it be red, amber, green. That's pretty cool. And you'll get moments and scenarios, which I'm kind of intrigued about that. I would like to see it probably actually see what they mean by that. I guess it's probably gonna be sort of like a flyby type thing. Let's just see what chat's got to say. Pessy, you say you have a feeling that East Coast Mainline will be extended because in the Dovetail Direct, the Peterborough to Doncaster was listed as an extension. Check 3 hours 22:07. Oh, that was a good one to check to see if they've inadvertently perhaps leaked something. Pessy, again, you say you hope you get more East Coast Mainline content. Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be well received by a lot of the community, and certainly I think I would enjoy that as well. Getting more, getting more East Coast Mainline is would be amazing now that we've got the 800. Crazy say you do hope you get. I do hope that we get some really heavy fog as well. With barely any visibility. Yeah, that would really make driving on the simple HUD or HUDless very, very challenging. So yeah, I genuinely think that's a good improvement, because especially with the dynamic weather, all too often does a route go foggy, and it always just looks a bit meh. So hopefully when it does go foggy now, it's you go, oh wow, this is pretty cool. Cinematic, the moments and scenarios. I guess more cutscenes. They mean by that. Yeah, I guess so as well. I just hope they don't make it kind of too gimmicky, I suppose. What my thoughts on the Flying Scotsman? I think is a great addition. The only thing I think I was disappointed to hear was that the steam physics still haven't been properly fixed, and just hope that the safety valves aren't constantly blowing off very loudly, because that would really detract from the Scotsman. So hopefully they do something similar that they did with the other three locos, or the other three steam trains that we've got. Crazy, you don't know too much about the Flying Scotsman, but it looks good. Yeah, it's a really iconic steam train within the UK, and at the time it was the fastest took the world record, going 100 miles an hour, but was obviously later beaten by the Mallard. And then let's move on to the next one, next kind of feature. So this is one that I was quite surprised about, because it's pretty much God mode as people in the modding community would know it, and essentially just lets you go wild with your routes, as it kind of says there. So you can spawn trains anywhere you like at any time, set paths to where you like, and you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. So I'm a big fan of this, and when they confirmed that you'd be able to use this free roam mode in the timetable service mode as well, I think it will definitely add a lot of fun. So I'm pretty excited by this, about what you can potentially create in it. So yeah, this is one, again, it'd be really interesting to see how creative people get. I think yeah, I'm looking forward to this. As you can see there, they've perhaps used the free roam mode to line all of these the locos up, which is pretty cool, I would say. Yeah, absolutely crazy, basic God mode, but also for consoles now. Yeah, absolutely. It was obviously just for the PC community before. And now we get on probably to the big one that people weren't expecting, and that is, of course, the PC editor. Pessy, Dovetail Games are really going above and beyond. We have another 4 UK routes coming. Yeah, there were a number of UK routes coming. Rumoured, Rivet's West Highland line. Okay, and an unnamed UK route. That's interesting. So yeah, PC editor. So this is effectively access to the tools that Dovetail Games and their partners use to create routes, which is, I think, quite huge, because previously there was, I guess, the unofficial editor, but it was nowhere near what this is probably going to give creators. I'm really intrigued in terms of what's going to be possible with this. I think it's going to be I get the sense it could be quite limited from day one, because at the moment you won't have the ability to alter or change routes that currently exist. It will be essentially new content only, new routes, trains perhaps, and there's going to be obviously limited documentation about how to effectively use this tool set. So I think it'll be a bit of trial and error. I'm really intrigued to see what people do with this, and I think it can only be seen as a positive thing, opening up the editor to the community, because yeah, we've seen what people can do with Train Simulator Classic. Just hope people can do similar stuff for Train Sim World. So I think this is a great step in the right direction. And then we get the bundles, and I probably won't labour on this too much, because you got the standards, you got the deluxe, you got the special, and those are the prices that they're available for. Obviously, this comes out 26th of September. If you pick up the deluxe or special edition, you will get access 5 days before, so the 21st. There was just a couple of things in the roadmap article that I was gonna probably just go into a little bit more detail. Is it this one? Yeah, absolutely agree, Crazy. Personally, I don't think I will try the editor myself. I can't say I have any knowledge about game development or sort of graphical design or anything like that. So, but yeah, certainly intrigued, like you say, what people can do with this. So the other thing that I think is a good improvement as well is the overhead line equipment rendering. So again, it doesn't look so thin. It does look a lot thicker and a lot more present, which is great. We've got some new character updates and dioramas. So dioramas such as the cafe and the fake subway, and also we've got some passengers now pulling along suitcases, holding briefcases, holding coffee cup on the phone. I like this. I'm not against this. The only thing I would say is, sadly, the passenger system, the behaviours still hasn't been addressed, which is probably the bigger issue for me, because I hate seeing people flying off to the moon or sinking through the platform. It very much does break the immersion. It's fair to say. As we all know, timetable update for Trenton is coming. That's very cool. We get some other improvements to Southeastern High Speed. Again, there's a nice video here for people wanting to see what that looks like. It'd be good to see what to have a play with Southeastern after that. There's the 628 in its red livery, very nice, and there are a bunch of other updates coming as well. I guess that's been a relatively, positive view of Train Sim World 4. I'm going all the way back up to the top here, sorry. Yeah. So I just catch up with the chat. So CJ, you've already ordered the deluxe version. Crazies, I take you've done the same as well. And then CJ asks opinions on them not bringing the Flying Scotsman out as an add-on and just a deluxe exclusive. Yeah, I think that's pretty naff, if I'm honest. Just forcing people, for those that perhaps don't necessarily want the Vectron or don't want to buy the standard or deluxe editions, and perhaps just want to pick up the UK edition that will be available on day one. I don't know why why it's necessary to be released a month after as a separate add-on. I just don't see the purpose of that. Surely they're limiting the sales that people could potentially be, those people that are interested in having, say, the Vectron for Dresden, or picking up the German edition or picking up the Austrian edition. I just don't see the logic of it. Yeah, for me, it just doesn't really make sense. I think that's a bit of shooting themselves in the foot there. And then I guess the bigger question that probably people are interested in is my thought on, I guess, the necessary, the need for Train Sim World 4. Did we need it? I suppose is the real question. And my gut tells me, did we need it? No. These are, while they're good updates and upgrades to the core feature set, it doesn't feel new title worthy. Could have it stayed on Train Sim World 3 and been just a core update? Yeah, I think it probably could have been. If you sit in Dovetail's shoes, I guess selling a new title is easier, but I also don't like the fact that some of the now bug fixes are now behind a paywall and forcing those that people on Train Sim World 3 into 4. And I also don't think it's the model that they are intending to take going forward has been well communicated, in terms of people expecting a new edition to come every year. So does it sit well with me? No, not really. Am I surprised? Also no. I think this is going to be the kind of the model going forward. I think I'm not as offended because the routes that they've included are good. And actually, I'm happy to pay the money because I'd like to get East Coast Main Line, but I can see it from other people's perspectives. If they're not interested in those routes, then it does feel like a little bit of a kick in the teeth. So yeah, we'll see how it comes out, and I think as well, the real test will be is Train Sim World 4 also full of bugs that on day one? Because if it is, I don't think that's going to go down particularly well. So yeah, well, interested in your thoughts on that sort of subject. That one, Random Doge, you'll probably be making Brunswick line as far as Brunswick and Frederick. Very nice. CJ, I don't want any... you don't want the stuff other than East Coast Main Line and Scotsman, but I got the deluxe for the 5-day early access and the Steam stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's nice to have those other two routes. I think what I get the kind of way I see it is absolutely agree with you. My view is that East Coast Main Line is the one that I really wanted. If I was buying this add-on separately, it's probably the similar sort of price as it would normally be. So I'm kind of okay, and you also get the bonus of those two routes if you want to dip into them every now and again. And of course, I'm happy with the 5-day early access because it means I can show everyone potentially what they'll be getting. So yeah, I'm okay with it, but I can see it from other people's point of view. CJ, I think Peterborough to York would have been better, but I can see why it went to Doncaster. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 80 miles in a Train Sim World route is pretty long as it is anyway. To go much further, I would have been quite surprised. But I can see why York would have been better. Really should extend it to Lincoln Central. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I think... am I right in saying that to Lincoln it's unelectrified and therefore they would have needed the Class 800 instead of the 801? Crazy honestly wouldn't mind having to upgrade each year except all the routes of Steam or like a BR diesel or US rate. Yeah, and I think that's probably my view. If the routes weren't something that took my interest, then yeah, I would be annoyed. You're annoyed that the Pacers are coming to TSW4. We'll be featuring the Pacers, unfortunately, that one. Modern Preston would be cool because it certainly would include then the West Coast Main Line, and of course Blackpool would have some northern services. Lewis, you're all in for the Azuma and the Scotsman, but they could have extended it to York, which would have been an extra 20 minutes from Doncaster. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That would have been nice. I guess from the lengths that we know that they've done in the past, I think would have been probably a little bit too far. CJ would have also rather had a modern Blackpool route. Yeah, I think personally I would always prefer modern because that's kind of what I enjoy, but I can kind of see the other side that actually having that route with so much stock already available, I think it will be pretty impressive actually. So if there was more kind of modern traction available for that area, then yeah, absolutely modern would have been perfect. The 801 it does have a diesel motor, but it's kind of nowhere near. I think it has one motor versus the 3 that say the 800 has, so it would have been quite noticeable difference, I guess, in terms of the power. So I think that probably I've been nattering now for about an hour discussing my thoughts on the 800. Do you guys want to jump into Train Sim World 3 now, and we'll we'll do. We'll jump into perhaps. I quite like to jump into the Midland Main Line. I've got a. I'd quite like to drive the HST. I think. What do you guys think? Or is there anything else that you'd like me to cover from a Train Sim World 4 perspective? Right, let's do it. Let's jump into the game screen. Hopefully that... Crazy, what are my thoughts on Colne Arkin timetable? Oh, yes, that is a really good point. I absolutely love it. And I say that because I've always thought that route was far, far too quiet. And I'll tell you what, let's just prove that. We'll do the new journey expansion. Start off in Colne. Let's just jump in. We'll just prove this point. If it makes Colne Station a lot busier, I am going to be so happy because it's dead at the moment. Look how dead it is. So I really hope this takes this up a notch, and it's a great route. I really like this route. I just think when you roll into Colne and it's dead like this, then yeah. And of course Joe will run his magic on it, and I'm sure we all appreciate how good Joe's timetables are. So yeah, all for that. Let's jump back to main screen. CJ, have I bought Train Sim World 4 yet? No, I haven't. It's I'll be picking it up once I've been paid. So very shortly. CJ, opinions on volumetric fog? I'm absolutely all for volumetric fog because the fog that we've got at the moment is pretty rubbish. So to have something that looks a lot more true to life, I think is going to be a really good thing. Crazy, you do have a few layers for the new journeys, and it's still mostly dead. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Hope you can do ICO1 layers and content. Yeah, that would be very cool, actually. That's a very good point. Let's choose a Leicester to Derby run. And again, the only other thing I guess I would have said is, well, obviously we got the new lighting. It is still very bright, isn't it? And you always have to run it in light clouds. Right, let's just get this set up. Let's open the doors, turn AWS on. DSD is normal. All good. There we go. There's our HST. CJ, what about the new rain? New rain on Windows effect. Personally, I love it, and I think it was well needed. Yeah, 100%. Far too often it looked very blocky and unrealistic. So I'm all for it as well. I think it will look really good, but it will be only on locos that have been created after Train Sim World 4. So sadly, it won't go backwards, which is a bit of a shame. But there we are. Let's lock those doors. Let's unlock those brakes. That one, random Doge. You're hoping for 3 of these routes: Manchester Airport to Liverpool, Manchester Sheffield, Waterloo to Guildford, or Cobham via the South West Main Line, Cobham and Mole Valley. Some really good choices there. Pessy, you're back. Welcome back. Pessy, can't wait for the East Coast Mainline enhancement pack, especially with the new editor. It'll look beautiful. Yeah, it will. I really hope those the modding community can take full effect. Can use the full suite of tools to make the enhancement packs even better. CJ, yeah, the AWS alarm push. Yeah. Sorry for that. Crazy. Yeah, I hope they turn down the sky intensity with the God mode so it isn't too bright. Yeah, I guess I just wish it would become the norm, not having it too bright. Let's just turn this sound up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it's worth saying I am running the enhancement pack on Midland Main Line because it does make a real difference, along with the UK grass and vegetation enhancement pack as well. Crazy, you hope for the Borderlands line with a 230 or a 153 or whatever runs there. Yeah, that would. I think it's just, I really just want to see more UK content, because the more UK content, I personally love it. And now especially we've got the East Coast Main Line, that's the one that I think, I really hope they kind of focus their attention on, and yeah, hopefully. So we're running a 6-coach HST. Let's look at our stopping pattern. We've got Loughborough, East Midlands Parkway, and then Long Eaton where we won't fit. Pezzy, you wish the Midland Main Line enhancement pack comes console and track and failures. Yeah, I know, it really does make a difference. Yeah, you definitely need this type of vegetation and track design for Trains and World. Yeah, it does make a real difference. Ever since Peak Forest, the vegetation has been so much better. It's all good. The other thing I didn't mention that will be coming at some point in the future is the suspension improvements, which I think is probably a bigger deal than perhaps it was kind of mentioned, because having realistic kind of movement of the train in terms of the bouncing and the movement of the cab, it's going to make a huge difference. I really think that's going to be a big one. That's one I'm really looking forward to when it does eventually come. And of course, Formation Designer was the other one as well. One that won't necessarily come at release, but is coming later down the line. So yeah, pretty cool, I think. That one asks if we make routes in the route editor, which one would it be? That's a very good question. Yeah, I think that's probably a sensible suggestion from Crazy, where you could use existing trains, focus on the route, just the route building. I think, yeah, it's a shame that at the moment you won't be able to extend current routes, but yeah, it will probably come in time. I think it's a step in the right direction. It will probably take quite some time to really explore what's possible with the editor, and it's also about how you distribute those new routes and trains as we go past the 158. It would also be good to hear what Skyhook have got planned for this route as well still. Slightly speeding. Just put a bit of brake on. Go. So no, I think I think we should probably see the announcement of Trainsim World 4 as probably a positive. I know, obviously, basically the support for Trainsim World 2 and 3 is effectively dead now, and I think it's fair to say you probably won't expect too much more going forward in terms of the way of bug fixes or improvements. It's nice that they've been clear this time, but I think they should have been really upfront with people from the start, especially with Trainsim World 3, just to say, you know, this is going to be supported for a year, and at that point it goes end of life. Heartwarming Fox, you ask, what are they going to give us on release? Really isn't going to be worth the money for $20, maybe. Not what they price it at. Yeah, and I think this is probably, I guess, my take on it is that if the 3 routes that Trainsim World 4 will be coming with, then I can see why it would feel a bit of a kick in the teeth. If the routes are for you, then yeah, I guess that it does make good sense for the value of what you get in 3 routes for the base 3 routes for basically the price of 1. It really depends on your point of view in terms of what the routes are, how you like the routes that are coming. CJ, you asked what Scottish routes would I like to see. I quite like the in Trainsim World Classic, Trainsim Lake Classic, the Falkirk line. Is it the Falkirk line? No, what was the core route that it came with in like 2020 or 21? I did enjoy driving that route. Crazy, it was a better announcement than Trainsim World 3. Yeah, absolutely. We are overrun because I've been reading chat. And we'll pass the signal, so that is a big old fail. Yeah, it is a better announcement than Trainsim World 3 announcement, but I would have also liked them to... That's it, 5 circle. Well said. I would have also liked them to have been upfront about the kind of how long Trainsim World 4 lasts, because I think it's quite unfair to, you know, to some people who are perhaps picking up Trainsim World a month before Trainsim World 3, for example, a month before it goes end of life, and not to be honest that there aren't any more fixes that will be coming. This is dumb because I overran. But this brings me on to a perfect point. This will be fixed in Trainsim World 4. So if you miss a station, your whole service won't be ruined. And also, don't drive like me. Right, we'll do Nottingham to Derby now. Oh, I'm a terrible driver at times. Right, so let's take the DRA off. Headlights. You can all have a laugh at me, it's fair enough. Okay, we'll give it another go. But yes, that will be doing that, and ruining your run will no longer be a thing. So that's good. And also, the other thing that was mentioned on yesterday's roadmap stream is if for some reason you just can't get the interlock off, you can reset the whole physics. So I think that again is a big positive. Right, we're all set up. Wait for the guard's buzzer, of course. Away we go. For Beeston next. Right, let's pay attention now. The railway guy, the Great Central Railway Bridge. Yeah, absolutely. Heartwarming Fox, yes, Vorarlberg is the only thing that interests you. Knowing Dovetail, I fear it will be dead and ghostly as a lot of the non-rush hour routes are. Yeah, that's an absolutely fair comment. I think it'll be interesting to see in the preview stream whether that is the case. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully there's plenty of action going on to keep it interesting. Pick up the speed again now. There was a 50 marker, so yeah, there we go. We jumped up to 50 line speed. Yeah, 320 services without any additional layers, so you imagine it wouldn't be too dead. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I've just got that amount of services for 44 miles. Hopefully you'll be able to see in the preview that it's not completely dead. And obviously with the Vectron and the BR 185, sorry, I'm driving the 158. It'll have a decent amount of freight services on as well. CJ asks opinions on the new 1,000 layer limit on Cratoscope. I guess you're talking probably about livery designer, the 1,000 layer limit. I think it's a positive. It will allow people who make liveries to make more complex ones than they already do now. So I think that can only be welcomed. So definitely a step in the right direction for me. I was quite surprised that we got a view of what will be coming all the way up to sort of 6 to 12 months on the roadmap, because I don't think ever in the past we've had that level of information. Alright, we don't know what will be coming in terms of like what the routes are or what the locos will be or the loco packs or whatever it is that's on there, but I'm surprised that they've said it will be, this number of UK routes, this number of German routes, etc., etc. So I think that's a good step in the right direction to transparency. Let's start braking here for Beeston. I think that's a real positive. I'm also really intrigued as to who the new partner is on the roadmap. Because it's not one that's part of the announced partners at the minute, if that makes sense. It's not a Just Trains, it's not a Rivet, it's not a Skyhook, it's not an ATS, it's not a Union Workshop. So yeah, really intrigued to find out who that new partner is. And they are loco plaques as well, which, yeah, again, what routes could they be for as well? So as we come into Beeston, let's put the brakes on again. There we go. Lovely stuff. Let's open the doors. Oh, oh, there you go. Doors are opening now. Always forget it takes a little while for these doors to open. CJ, you would have liked to edit the interior of the train on Livery Designer. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. CJ would love to see the Class 90s on freight as an add-on. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. The 91 would be very cool. 90 would also be cool. Crazy, you'd imagine it's the team that worked on Train Sim Classic content. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Did it specify which country? No, it didn't. It was yeah, it didn't say which country those loco packs were for, so it'll be interesting. Heartwarming Fox, yeah, absolutely. I love this train as well. The fact that they've simulated the guard, how the doors are opening, and then the guard buzzer is fantastic. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 158. I'd certainly like to see it used more in Train Sim World. CJ, an 88 or a 68, yeah, I'd love a 68. That would be pretty cool. But the 88 given us on the East Coast Main Line would make sense using the overhead power. Wish more routes did simulation of the way that the guard operates the doors. I think the only thing I would love to see is an actual guard at that door. That would make it even more kind of immersive to actually see someone there. There's a bit of a diorama or something. Alfie, good evening, how you doing? We've got Attenborough next in about half a mile, so we'll gently start applying the brakes. Glad you're okay, Alfie. Acknowledge the whistle board there. This is right. Let's continue to slow. There we go, here's Attenborough Station. Let's just ease off the brakes here, get us to our stopping point. I really need to turn off these stopping markers. I don't know where they're on at the moment. There we go, just chucking a full service. Let's open those doors. Heartwarming Fox, at this point, if they just plastered a low poly PNG and called it a guard, I'd be happy. Yeah, absolutely. Same. I think it would just finish it off perfectly. Alfie, you say you're going to be getting Train Sim World 4 on release date. Hey, nice. Have you pre-ordered already? And let's lock those doors. Look at this beautiful Class 158. Of of course, we'll be getting this on the East Coast Main Line as well, so you'll be able to, I think, play between one of the stations, between two stops, or like one between two stations. So we've got another 158 coming in. Release the brakes. Away we go. Long Eaton next. CJ, as a local pack, you'd like to see Collis Rail test train? Yeah, that would be cool. A 37 and 43, the DBSO. Yeah, I think that would be, because I loved the fact that it included the railhead treatment train, stuff like that. Kind of those engineering type trains are very cool, and to have a test train would be would be amazing. Peterborough to Grantham. Yeah, thank you, Crazy. You're absolutely right. I was trying to think of the two stations that it would run between. Alfie, on the East Coast Main Line, I might add the 700. Yeah, you'll get the 700 add in as a AI only layer at Peterborough to make it feel busy. So I think that's pretty cool. Crazy, wonder what type of services you'll have with the 66 on the East Coast Main Line. Yeah, I hope we get some decent services that perhaps even a little bit, I guess a little bit like Castle Würzburg, where perhaps you get pulled over into the passing loops to allow the 800s to zoom on past. That would be cool. That would really that would yeah, that would be really cool sort of to work. It's a double yellow, stop braking. Alfie, you're getting the deluxe edition, very nice. So you also get the Flying Scotsman and the Vectron with it as well, that's nice. CJ should have the 700 service from Peterborough sidings to Peterborough and bring it into service. Yeah, that would have been cool. Right, here we go. We're gonna have our single yellow here, and you can see the feathers illuminated, indicating how we were going round to the right. Let's release the brakes. There we go. There's the 30. Crazy, when it happened with the NENR service where you might go into passing loop to let a fast train. Yeah, absolutely, quite possibly. That's a good shout. Absolutely agree. The deluxe edition is definitely the best value for money. Alfie, do you like the Valenta HSC? Absolutely. Of course, we get it with the route that obviously we're running on at the minute, which is the Midland Main Line. Need to slow a little bit further here. Crazy, I feel like Dovetail should have done that. Done the main discount is 20% and the loyalty at another 5. Since players who don't own Train Sim World 3 only get 10% discount. Yeah, that's a fair shout. I guess they're just trying to, encourage as many people to upgrade from Train Sim World 3 to 4 as they can. I didn't think it would be such a discount, like 25% or up to 25%. I was expecting the classic sort of 10%, but yeah, not 25. You like it when the Valenta HST screams when it's departing. Nice. This is always such a slow piece of track. Crazy, I guess players who don't own Train Sim 3 will most likely not get the special version, which that version is most likely aimed at. Yeah, that's very true, actually. You do like this? Yeah, I like the discount as well, because it was. I expected some kind of discount for, but just not. I guess not as much as we got. But I'm all for it. It really makes a difference. Let's make our way to Long Eaton. We're only a little bit behind time. Let's come off power now. And we'll start to brake for Long Eaton. There we go, let's just roll into our stopping point. There we go, and we'll unlock those doors. And we'll jump out, of course. Almost finished loading here. Let's get ready to lock those doors. Wait for the guard buzzer. We'll acknowledge and we'll get going to Derby. Okay, we've got just a straight run now to Derby. It's pretty nice. Got a HST running past us. Love to see it. Crazy should have stated the download size for each of the versions in the FAQs. Yeah, that's fair. I think the other thing I was slightly disappointed with is that on early access you won't have your full suite of content. It'll only be the 3 routes and the potentially two loco add-ons that come with it. It's a bit of a shame actually, because that would have been cool to have. Obviously you won't get the benefit of the layers for those first 5 days, so yeah, a bit of a shame on that respect, but hey, there we are. Alfie is pretty cool. The TSW4 has the 801. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I've always wanted the 800 into Train Sim World, so it's finally here. It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, that's true, Crazy. And also you'll need both TSW3 and 4 installed at the same time to do the profile transfer. So I'll definitely need to free up a bit of space to make sure I can download, have both running. Yeah, that's true. I guess it's always just those other Easter eggs that inevitably Joe includes into the timetables. South Western Railway and London Underground lines, they are really popular and heavily requested routes. Crazy, you don't have to download all your content. Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a pretty big download once the rest of the DLC become available. Every single run is always that signal there that comes up as a double yellow and then goes green as you approach it. Yeah, absolutely, Alfie. The paces are coming to Train Sim World 4 with yeah, we will get that very shortly with the Just Chains route. Ultramaster X, welcome into the stream. Hope you're having a good evening. Heavily requested means nothing. Yeah, you've got a fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah. I mean, I guess at least we got the East Coast main line, but yeah, not the southern part. Crazy, my content has grown a lot with most of my video content coming from Train Sim 3 era because of the Humble Bundle and some good discounts. Yeah, absolutely. I think mine's equally done the same. There's 100. Step down shortly after this to 85. Yeah. Absolutely, Alfie, Preston to Blackpool. That's what I'm looking forward to. There's the board for 75. Let's start to break. We're very much on the approach to Derby now. That's for 30, so we'll stop braking again. Here's a theory, perhaps. The other Austrian routes on the road map, could that be an extension to Vorarlberg? Question mark. I feel like extensions could become a thing in Chainsaw World 4. It's such a heavily requested feature. I mean, it would fit with the... Could you extend Antelope? I'm not really sure. Don't know that much of the world. That part of the world very much, but certainly East Coast Main Line would benefit from it. I guess Vorarlberg towards Switzerland perhaps, or further into Austria. Or is it just all wishful thinking? There we go, single yellow, indication for platform 3, and we're under 30. I think we probably do need to slow a little further, because I suspect we need to go down 25. Which we're under. Alfie the 158 is on the Glossop lane. Yeah, absolutely. Ultramaster X, personally, you'd rather dovetail extended existing routes rather than adding new separate routes. Yeah, especially when they're popular routes, something like East Coast Main Line, absolutely. I do like the network effect that we got with Southeastern High Speed when that was extended. Just added such a variety of different gameplay or different driving options into a single route, and you could literally just stay on that route and you'd be able to do so much. Crazy think short routes, anything below 40 miles should get extensions as long as they can extend them. Yeah, absolutely. I think this, well, certainly the Midland Main Line is another prime example that could benefit from an extension, perhaps up to Sheffield. That's the frequently requested one that I see. Right, let's return to the main menu. Let's choose a route. What haven't we done in a little while? I suppose the other thing I would say is now we've got the Class 801, that would be phenomenal if Rivet also added that layer into Edinburgh, because that would make it so much better and not be so empty. I think that's probably the other thing, is hopefully they do go back and where possible now add some busyness to stations. What should we do? Let's do Southeastern. Why not? Let's jump in a white Class 375 and we'll just say we'll do Rochester to Faversham. That sounds like a good one to do. And then I think after we complete this run, it will be a perfect way to round up the stream. Let's unlock doors. Just put this vigilance on. Headlights. I wanted day running. There we go. And there we go. There is our white Class 375 in its, I guess, old Connex livery, and we've got behind us a 375 in its newer blue livery. So nice to see as always. This was a great addition with the Class 37 having the white livery. I'm also really intrigued to see the updates that they do to South Eastern High Speed. They do look quite good, actually. I'll start locking those doors. And away we go to the home of Dovetail Games, Chatham. There's 30. I'll just keep it running at 30 nicely. So we've run through the old Rochester station. And we head through the tunnel here before we get chucked out at Chatham Station. Looks like we've got a Javelin in the station. Very nice. There we go, perfect stuff. Let's open those doors. Ultra Master X feels a bit cheap that the Southeastern High Speed update is only coming to Train Sim 4, especially considering that the update will include the Thameslink stopping markers even when the 700 is in Tier 3. Yeah, I did take this similar opinion when I saw the news that the Southeastern High Speed update was only coming to Train Sim 4, and which especially included the stop markers. I did think that was pretty poor because it was a feature that was advertised with the 700, obviously for Train Sim 3. So, yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. There's no defending Dovetail in that instance. There's a lot of stuff that's being hidden behind the kind of Train Sim 4 paywall. Also, the fact that actually any updates to Train Sim 3 has no timetable makes me very skeptical about them ever coming. We saw the exact same thing with Train Sim 2, which never came. So, based on their performance of Train Sim 2, they have no credibility on that front. Right, we should step up to 50 in a moment. Okay, let's step up to 50 now, and we'll put the power on. Yeah, absolutely, Ultramaster. It's it would be nice to see some of the older routes get some love. It's nice to see that they're going back to Colnarken. That was one that I did not expect, given it was a core TSW2 route. To get a new timetable was very unexpected. But very welcomed. They can do the right thing at times. Sometimes. It's a real hit and miss. Okay, so we're coming into Gillingham. Yeah, absolutely agree, Crazy. That would make me want to play some of the older routes even more. Good evening, Nick. How you doing? Welcome into the stream. Nick, greetings from Germany. You're also a big rail fan. Well, you've come to the right place. We're all big rail fans here. Ultramaster, yeah, just bringing newer locos into older routes. The matching liveries would be great. Yeah, absolutely. Don't know if it would work through their Unreal Engine updates. I think it should, because if you think about Dresden to Riesa, they'll have a whole mixture of... Because Dresden Riesa obviously originated at Train Sim World in Train Sim World 2, obviously part of the Rush Hour release. So I can't imagine they're going back through all of those locos and doing huge changes to them. So I think they should, it should be able to work with a mixture. Like I say, something like Edinburgh to Glasgow. That would be perfect to have the class 800 layered in. Nick, quite fine, just stressed out from the week. Well, it's good that it's there's a 700, sorry. It's good that it's the weekend. You excited for Train Sim World 4? How are you, and how was your day? I'm very well, thank you. And my day was, really good, actually. I'm glad it's the weekend, and for us in the UK, we get a nice long weekend because it's a bank holiday. So we get Monday off as well. What are you most excited for in Train Sim World 4, Nick? So we head towards Raynham next. Now we can jump up to 80. Let's put the power back on. Yeah, absolutely, CJ. The NNR run between to Inverness and Stirling to King's Cross, and they appear in the section of line between Linlithgow and Edinburgh, calling it Haymarket. See, that would be so cool, just to, even a very small run like that, or even just to see if they were AI services only. Just to see another train on the route, because all you see is 385s. Let's start braking. Nick, you're excited for the new features coming Train Sim World, especially Spawn the train wherever you like. Yeah, the free roam mode is going to be very, very cool. And you're also excited for the Austrian and British route. Yeah, both the routes should be very, very nice. I'm particularly excited for the British route, but the Austrian route I think looks really, really scenic. You've already pre-ordered the deluxe edition. Nice. Crazy, they should also add the 801 layers at Glasgow Central. Yeah, that's a great shout as well, actually. Again, that would... that is a very dead station. Because the 3-1... I suppose... Was that around at... Were the 800s around when the 314s were still in service? I don't know. That's a good question. There's a 465. CJ says 801 only appears at Glasgow Central 3 times a day. Okay, good to know. (6:37), 1 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Hey, you know your train times well. Fair enough. The 314s retired the same year as the 81s entered service. Ah, nice. So you could... There legitimately could be a crossover. That's interesting to know. CJ with one being driver training. Nice. Class 387 Productions, welcome into the stream. You'd like a South Western Railway mega route on Train Sim World 4. South Western Railway is a really requested route, or really requested operator. Alright, sorry. Next stop will be Sittingbourne, 5 miles. Alright, so I'm good for a bit. I can re-chat for a bit. Nick, a special route I'd really like to want for Train Sim World is your childhood route, the Eifelbahn. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. It's a special route through the Eiffel with a lot of mixed spots and a lot of nature. It would be one everyone would like. Very nice. I do like a good scenic route. Metro Mainline, welcome into the stream. Hope you're well. CJ, for a modern Glasgow Central route, we could have the 801, 385 and a new train if added. Yeah, it would be nice perhaps to see the Cathcart Circle taken into the modern era. As fun as the 314s are. cruising nicely at 80 now. Welcome into the stream, Fine Scotsman. With a name like that, I bet you're really oh, we should have been slowing. You should be very excited for the release of Train Sim World 4, with the Flying Scotsman included. Nick, you spelled Eiffelbahn really well. You should practice some German in the future. I certainly try. My driving of German trains is something less to be desired, though. I can't master PZB, as I'm sure some of you will agree with. There's a whistle board. Gotta acknowledge it. Just Fine Scotsman, yes you are. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Let's just speed back up to 80. Ultramaster, I feel like Dovetail Games are doing too many routes that are in the past. If Blackpool Preston was in the modern day, I would have definitely bought it, but I'm aware there's lots of people do like older routes. It's just what I feel. Yeah, that's definitely an opinion that quite a few people have. I think would have liked to seen that route in the modern era. I kind of get why it's done, because the amount of BR Blue stock that we have will make that route feel extremely busy. I guess given that at the moment there's a lack of modern like northern stock, and there's no Avanti like Pendolino or whatever for Preston, it would have been probably quite challenging for Just Train. So I kind of get it. I definitely with you on the opinion, but I get why they've done the BR Blue. Crazy, yeah, we won't talk about the 3 times I had emergency brake with PZB for 10 minutes. Yeah, that wasn't my finest moment. Flying Scotsman is so excited. Am I excited for Train Sim World 4? Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for the East Coast Main Line. Metro Mainline, I think the route editor will be a game changer. Supposedly terrain and satellite imports will be something you can do now. Yeah, I think the possibilities with what can be achieved with the editor, I think is going to be really exciting. I think it will take perhaps a little while for people to get used to the tools. So I'm not expecting anything immediately, but yeah, it opens up a world of possibilities. Nick, PZB is quite confusing. I absolutely agree with you on that. But with support, it's easy to use, but otherwise, if the signals look different, then it should always be... should always press... I apologies, can't pronounce that, otherwise fry button. If PZB blinks or leaving LZB. Yeah, that's it. It's not a bad way to look at it. At the moment, I rely on the driver assists that I still get sometimes wrong. I definitely need to practice with PZB. Crazy, you think it's much better in the BR Blue era, since it's quite a bit since we've had a BR Blue. Yeah, that's true. I guess the last one probably would have been, I guess, either Northern Transpennine or Tees Valley. start locking those doors. We've locked the doors, perfect. Nick Crazy was talking about my my terrible driving of a German route on the stream. I managed to get 3 emergency brakes in the space of 10 minutes with PZB on. I swiftly turned it off. But yeah, I agree. I also prefer AWS. Ultramaster X, just probably because you're not a fan of the older trains. Yeah, that's absolutely fair enough. I certainly agree with you. I prefer more modern trains, but it would be very cool to see that. I think I would prefer it because it's not going to be dead, which is the good thing. We've got far too many routes that have sometimes feel a little dead. Train Sim World Guy, I think you can edit existing routes and train. It will just be more, and the train will be just, I guess, more challenging. Yeah, I can imagine it will be. I can imagine that will be hard to create a train in the editor, but fair play. Nick, what's my opinion on ETCS? Do you know what? I'm honest, I don't know too much about ETCS. Partly because obviously we don't have it in Train Sim World yet, but I think it would be cool to have that signalling system included one day in a route, because it very much is certainly. The East Coast Main Line is heading towards ETCS. Crazy. Sometimes forget AW exists. Yeah. CJ, I hope the 801 has some good cab features. Yeah, absolutely. Nick, ETCS is present on Luzerne City. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I always forget about Luzerne Cersei, but still it has some failures on the route. That's sad, but yeah, that's one that I've never tried. Ultramaster X, it always makes me cringe every time we go into Birmingham New Street on Birmingham Cross City. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you on that. Yeah, that's never a good experience going into Birmingham New Street if you've ever been there. It is extremely busy. Crazy, quite happy that Antelope doesn't have a PTC safety system. Yeah, they can. Apparently it's so complicated and they don't even know how they could implement it. Yeah, that does sound quite scary. There's 85, let's put the power on. Which routes do you own, and what is your favourite route from America, England, and Germany? I think for the US routes, I think it's got to be Boston to Providence until New York Trenton gets the timetable update. If we're talking UK routes, this one that we're driving, so Southeastern High Speed, and Germany has to be Dresden to Riesa. Which routes do I own? Oh god, probably too many, I think is the answer. I've got a good variety of different routes from, but it could always do with a few more. Maybe when there's a good sale on next, I'll pick up a few more. Uh, Master asks, what makes me prefer Southeastern High Speed over something like London Commuter? Yeah, we're breaking. We're fine. I just like the with Southeastern High Speed, you get so many different varieties of rolling stock, as you say, and for me, that's so cool that you've got one part of the route that is truly high speed with the Javelin. The other part of it is commuter. You also got a good variety of freight, and also got some different services with the railhead treatment train, and of course the 37 doing the drags with the 375. I think, and obviously with the addition of the 700 as well, it's just really taking it to the next level. So if London Commuter got its rush hour passengers, got the 700, and also had the updated lighting, I think it might just pip Southeastern. Nick Dresden Reese is definitely a great route. Definitely great route. I honestly prefer Harmstrucker Rhine-Ruhr since it's quite short and it's near the area you live. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's when routes are close to where you live, it always has a real appeal. I totally get that. Class 387 Productions are. You want another underground route? Or which one would you like? Crazy, honestly don't know my favourite UK and German routes anymore since there's so many good ones. CJ, agree, we definitely need more rolling stock for the 37. Modern Cathcart would have 37 string and 314s away for scrap. Yeah, absolutely. I think we need more freight locos generally for the UK. Because obviously, really a modern freight locos, I should say, because we only really have the 66, and there is so much more. And of course, we only have one operator, which is EWS, which doesn't exist anymore. There we go, and that is Faversham. Let's open our doors. It's been a pretty painless run, actually. Let's try and find a good spot. There we go. So really, that's I think that's probably a nice way to round up this stream. It's been very, very nice actually talking about Trains on World 4 and also hearing your thoughts as well, because quite often you see a lot of negative thoughts, but actually generally yeah, generally it's been, I think you've all been relatively positive, which is nice to see. Nick asks, can I please do a run with the IC3M between Ashford and St Pancras next? We can do it in another stream. Unfortunately, I'm going to call the end of the stream here. It's yeah, we've been going for over 2 hours now. Crazy, if you had to choose one Germany favourite route, it would be Dresden-Chemnitz. You love driving the 612 or Hammerstrucker Rhine-Ruhr. And for the UK, it would be Southeastern High Speed or Tees-Fanny. All very, very good choices. So thank you ever so much, everyone, for tuning in to this stream. It's been really enjoyable. Don't forget to hit that like button, and also please consider subscribing if you're new here. And I'll see you in the next stream. Yeah, feel free to. I think I might do a community post next to help influence what we do next on stream. So do look out for that, and I'll catch you in the next one. So bye bye for now.